Hold. Carl the George. Any matters we need to address before we bring in the jury?
Not from the state room.
Not from defense.
State ready?
State's ready, Your Honor.
That's ready.
Yes, Your Honor.
Let's bring in the jury. You can be seated. Stay with the call?
Yes, sir.
Cancel the call?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, you can proceed, gentlemen.
Here we call the Sprint representative. Just take one and stand up there.
Thank you, ma'am.
Please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm the evidence you're about to give in the hearing of this cause will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I will.
Please have a seat.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Sir, please give us your name.
My name is Ricard Leal.
Can you spell your last name, please?
Absolutely. It's Leal.
And your first name.
Ricardo.
Where are you employed?
Work for Sprint Telephone Company.
And how long have you been employed with?
I've been working with Sprint now for 16 years.
Are you here today as the keeper of the records for Sprint?
Yes, ma'am.
And in the past, you said 451 card? In the past, has your company provided us with cell phone records belonging to a LaMarcus Davidson?
Yes, ma'am.
If I can approach and show you what's going to be marked as Exhibit 451. And ask you recognize those records.
Yes, ma'am. I recognize these records.
And what are those records for?
These are called detail records with cell site information for phone number 865-292-9208.
Now, what information is included in those records?
So it gives the actual telephone number for which the records belong, the date, time, as far as the time of the call. It gives the total time in seconds, what type of transactions happening, whether it's inbound or outbound from that telephone number. And then it gives the calling number or the called number, as well as cell site information. So 2 columns that have cell tower information for where the calls were transacted.
So for the record, there's a bunch of pages there, and so I really
There's a couple other columns too that basically would show yes if it went to voicemail, or if there was an international call or a 911 call. If it says no, that means none of those things happened, basically.
Now, I put a little sticky there on page 60, is it 68 of 152?
Yes, ma'am.
And there are other records, but I just want to talk about on page 68 of 152, does it show phone calls around like on January 3rd, and then there's a gap to January 7th?
Yes, ma'am. So from January 3rd of 2007, after 4:45 p.m., there are no calls until January 7th of 2007, and that's at 1:54 a.m.
Now, what could that mean? What does that mean to you?
So if there's a lapse in time, typically there's no service, either that the phone's out of battery or it's not in service.
And when you say it's out of battery, could that include the phone was turned off?
Correct.
And then the first phone call on the 7th, you said, is at what time?
It was at 1:54 a.m., which is actually, it would be 2:54 a.m. The switch for the call records is actually in Nashville, and Knoxville's in Eastern time, so you have to add an hour to get it to Knoxville time.
And the second line I want to talk about is on the next page, this line here, if you can tell us on page 69 of 152.
Yes, ma'am.
Can you explain to us that highlighted line that I just made with the pink highlighter?
Absolutely. So there was an outbound call from 865-292-9208 on January 7th, 2007, and it would be at 3:24 p.m. for a total of 82 seconds. And that number that it called was 865-237-7625.
And all of these records, we are seeking to move in as collective 451.
No objection. We're let them be received.
Where did you flying from?
Kansas City. Had to think about it for a second.
You can step down. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Tim Gray. He will be the Verizon representative. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, ma'am.
Did you say Tim Gray?
Yes, sir.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm the evidence you're about to give in the hearing of this cause will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, sir.
Please have a seat.
Please give us your name.
Timothy Gray,
And can you spell your last name, please?
Gray,
Where are you employed?
Verizon Wireless,
And what do you do for Verizon Wireless?
custodian of records.
Now, are you here today as the keeper of the records for Verizon Wireless?
Yes, ma'am.
And has your company in the past provided us with the cell phone records for Mr. Chris Newsom?
Yes, ma'am.
Specifically, cell phone number 865-789-5566?
Yes, ma'am.
And do you recognize this as a blown-up sheet from those records?
Yes, ma'am.
And I want to direct your attention to, first tell us what information is included in these different columns.
First column is your date column, date the time was initiated, or date the call was initiated. Second column is time, Eastern Standard Time. Third column is the number. Fourth column is a billing aspect where it says off peak or peak. Fifth column is usage type, which is another billing aspect. Sixth column is origination, and seventh column is destination.
So if you could, the highlighted line here in pink, can you explain to us what information is in that column, or what information is in that row?
Yes. When in pink, phone call was placed on January 7th, 2:10 in the morning, to a phone number 863-237-4625 from a location in Knoxville, Tennessee.
Seek to move this in as Exhibit 452.
Let it be received.
Is that Eastern Time or?
Yes.
Questions for this witness? You can step down. Thank you, sir. Sure.
He should be in the back. Thank you, Tim.
Jason, mine,
Jason.
Mynatt.
Dave. Raise your right hand and sit down.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm the evidence you're about to give in the hearing of this cause will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, sir.
Please have a seat.
Give the jury your name, please, sir.
Jason Mynatt,
Spell your last name.
M-Y-N-A-T-T.
Mr. Mynatt, you're in jail clothes, you're in custody on the matter, has nothing to do with this case, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
I want to direct your attention back to 2007, January 2007. Do you recall having a cell phone back
Yes, sir.
then?
Yes, sir.
And I'll ask you if you remember that number.
Off the top of my head, no, I don't.
Yeah, you've had occasion to testify previously in trials in this case.
Yes.
And if your testimony back then was that your phone number was 865-237-4625, does that sound familiar to you?
Yeah, that does.
Okay. Now, as of January of 2007, specifically January 7th, 2007, did you know an individual by the name of Chris Newsom,
No, sir.
Shannon Christian?
No, sir.
Ever heard of them, ever met them?
No.
LaMarcus Davidson?
No, sir.
LaTalvis Cobbins?
No, sir.
George Thomas?
No, sir.
Vanessa Coleman?
No, sir.
Ethel Freeman?
No, sir.
Rhonda Dukes?
No, sir.
Stacy Lawson?
No, sir.
Or Eric Boyd?
No, sir.
Ever heard of those individuals?
No.
Do you have any reason to know why either of those individuals would be calling your cell phone at 2:10 in the morning on January 7th, 2007?
I don't.
And you recall receiving such a call from a,
I was getting some wrong number calls at that time and remember waking up to some random missed calls. That's all.
Cross-examine. You can step down, thank you.
Taylor is next, but she's not here. Can we call Danielle? We'll come back to this. Danielle Lightfoot.
Please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm the evidence you're about to give in the hearing of this cause will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, sir.
Please have a seat.
Scoot up a little bit closer. Give us your name, please.
Katherine Danielle Lightfoot.
Do you go by Katherine or Danielle?
Danielle.
Danielle. And did you just get off work?
Yes.
Miss Lightfoot, I want to direct your attention back to 2007. Where were you living at in 2007?
Ridgebrook Apartments.
Ridgebrook Apartments?
Yes.
Where is that located?
Western Avenue.
And that's here in Knox County?
Yes.
You have to scoot a little bit closer. Now, where are you from?
Knoxville.
And what high school did you attend?
Gibbs High School.
Now, going back to Ridgebrook, who all lived with you in Ridgebrook?
Me and my daughter.
Directing your attention to the defense statement, you recognize Mr. Boyd?
Yes.
And today, can you tell us what does he have on?
I think a navy blue suit.
The record could reflect, you said a navy blue suit?
Yes.
The record could reflect what is identified the defendant.
Record will so reflect.
Did you know Mr. Eric Boyd back in January 2007?
Yes.
Did you have occasion to encounter him in January 2007?
Say that one more time.
I'm sorry. Did you have occasion to see him in January 2007?
Yes.
Did you come to meet a person by the name of LaMarcus Davidson?
Yes.
Did you know him by a different name?
Yes.
What name did you know him by?
Slim.
I can't understand, sorry, I can't hear you.
Slim.
Slim,
Yes, sir.
thank you.
S-L-I-M.
Yes, ma'am.
Tell us, how did you come to meet Mr. Davis?
He came to my house when I first moved to Ridgebrook, and just to meet me or whatnot. And we talked for a little bit, and I say after that, we just talked, and that was pretty much it.
And prior to this incident, do you know about how long you had known Mr. Davidson?
Since September.
September 2006?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now, Mr. Boyd, how long had you known Mr. Boyd prior to this incident?
That's what I was speaking of.
I apologize. Okay. So, Mr. Boyd, you had known him since September 2006?
Yes.
Okay. What about Mr. Davidson? Do you know approximately how long you had known him?
Since October, I want to say.
Okay. And now, how did you come to meet Mr. Davidson?
He was introduced to me by someone.
Okay. And so, you knew the both of them into September, October 2006?
Yes, ma'am.
I want to go, when is your birthday?
January 5th.
Now, do you have a particular thing you do for your birthday?
Of course, party. Everybody
And
parties.
when does your party start?
Christmas.
And when does it last? When does it end?
Normally about the end of January.
All right. Let's talk about the 1st of January. Do you recall a time when Mr. Boyd and Mr. Davidson came to your apartment?
My birthday was on a Friday. So they came to me that evening. I want to say January 9th.
January 9th?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. All right. Let's see here. Look here.
Yes. My birthday was Friday. Yes, they came on the 9th.
On the 9th, so that's a Tuesday?
Yes.
Okay. And so explain to us how that came about.
They just knocked on my door.
And when they knocked on the door, did you answer the door?
Yes, ma'am, I did.
Do you recall who all was at your house?
Me and a girl named Megan was at my house originally.
What was the girl's name?
Megan.
Megan, okay. M-E-G-A-N?
Yes.
All right, so you answered the door. Who do you see?
Mr. Boyd and Mr. Davidson.
And what happens after you answer the door?
I just said, hey, how are you? They just said, oh, hey. I was like, y'all here to celebrate my birthday? They said, yes. Well, come on in. And that was it. And they went to the kitchen.
You staying with Megan?
No. It was just me and Megan were in the living room. And they answered the door. I answered the door and they were at the door. And they came on in and went into the kitchen.
Okay. And so when they go into the kitchen, do you stay in the living room with Megan?
Yes.
Okay. And what happens next?
They were talking for a bit, but that's about all. And I was just sitting there as far as I can remember.
You're focused in on you and your birthday.
That's about all. Yes.
At some point in time, does the question come up about spending the night at your apartment?
Yeah, Davidson asked me if he could come stay at my house that night. And I said, okay, well, you don't have to pay to stay tonight. And he was like, okay. I was like, well, what happened? He told me that he shot at some people in Mechanicsville, but I wasn't really thinking nothing about it. I thought he was lying or anything like that. So I just said, okay. I still wasn't really thinking about it.
You're focused on your birthday.
Right.
And you have no clue about anything that took. Did you have any clue about what had taken place over in Chicken Street?
No, ma'am.
And so he asked to spend the night, and you tell him what?
It's okay. I mean, that's fine. You still gonna have to pay me for the night. I made a joke saying, you know, it's like Motel 6, you're gonna have to pay to stay. So he said, okay, and he jokingly laughed or whatnot and went back into the kitchen.
And who was in the kitchen?
Mr. Boyd.
What happens the next thing you remember?
They talked for a little bit, and then they asked me if Mr. Boyd's cousin could come by. And I was like, okay, no problem, because I've seen his cousin. I didn't know him, but I've seen him before. So it was like, he introduced us. But that's about all.
Is that Kevin Armstrong?
That's his name.
Is it his cousin? You don't know his name?
Mm-mm.
Okay. It was a male?
Yes.
Okay. All right, and so when they ask if Mr. Boyd's cousin came by, what happens?
I said, no problem.
What happens next?
He came by. He didn't stay long. And I say about 10, 15 minutes he stayed, but he left right after. And he told me bye, and I was like, okay, bye. And I ain't thinking nothing of it. But I was still sitting on the couch, and I was watching TV. So that's when I noticed some things on TV. I noticed the house, I noticed the tape, and I noticed that I was coming out with the police officers. But I didn't know what it was because I really wasn't paying attention at the time.
Had you ever been to Mr. Davidson's house on Chittenden Street?
No, ma'am.
Do you have any clues where he lived?
No, ma'am.
All right.
So after watching it, I was like, man, that's messed up. But I didn't know what happened. That's just a normal reaction if I watch something on the news or anything like that. And I say after that,
When you're watching this, I apologize for interrupting. When you're
Okay.
watching TV, is Megan still in the living room with you?
far as I can remember,
Okay.
yes,
Where are Mr. Boyd and Mr. Davidson?
in the kitchen.
Okay. I apologize. What happens after you see this on the news?
I'm trying to remember, to be honest, because it's been so long. I watched the news, and after that, nothing really I can remember. Because they stayed in the kitchen, and I stayed in the living room.
Okay.
But I did eventually go to sleep.
Okay. And
Now-
so this is on Tuesday night?
Yes,
Okay. So when you go to sleep Tuesday night, who is there in your apartment?
Eric Boyd and Mr. Davis.
Okay. What happens when you wake up the next morning?
I woke up, and they were still there.
We're on the 10th.
Yes,
Okay.
we're on Wednesday.
All right.
And I get a phone call from my friend, and Lakeisha Greer. She asked me if I wanted to go to Atlanta. I said, sure, why not? I ain't think nothing of it because I didn't know anything. So I was like, okay, I'm going to Atlanta. And I'm thinking, well, they about to go because I got things I'm about to do. I done made plans. I'm trying to find an outfit and I'm cutting up. And we get into the living room and we sit on the couch and we talk and we joke and stuff like that. Well,
Who is we?
me, Lakeisha Greer, Mr. Davidson, and Mr. Boyd. But when the news came on, that's when I saw Mr. Davidson's face. That's when I was like, okay, so what the hell is going on? And why are y'all in my house and everything else? And he's like, I don't know what's going on. I'm like, dude, you on TV, so you know what's going on. He said, my brother's done did something. My brother's done did something. He was coming up with excuses and saying I was at Walgreens with my girlfriend. I'm like, well, if you didn't do anything and you're wanted for questioning, just go ahead and turn yourself in. There shouldn't be an issue. He was like, well, I don't want to turn myself in. I just got out. I'm on probation. There were guns in the house, drugs in the house, and money in the house. And I said, I'd much rather be in trouble for that than get in trouble for something bigger than that. So it makes sense if you just do what you're supposed to do. And then I just got frustrated. I said, I don't know what's going on, but y'all not stopping my plans, what I'm about to do for the day. So I say, Lakeisha, leave, because she was saying the same thing as well, saying, why don't you find out what's going on, you need to get in touch with your brother, see just pretty much what's going on. We both were clueless. And so after that, I got dressed. I gave Mr. Boyd my house key. Now, mind you, I'm still not knowing what's going on. I still don't know what's going on, but I trusted E because he was my neighbor before because he dated my neighbor. So he stayed next door for a while. So I trusted him. And I gave him my house key. I said, here's my key. Please stay in my house. I don't know what's going on, but just stay here. I don't want anybody in my business. Because if you live in the projects, one person find out something, it travels like wildfire. So I left, went to Atlanta, praying the whole time, worrying and stressing. I come back that night.
Still Wednesday.
Still Wednesday night. I went to Atlanta during the day, and I came back that night. And when I came back that night, nobody was there. I told myself, look, y'all got to go. Y'all gotta go. I don't know what's going on, but something don't feel right. Y'all gotta go.
I apologize, who was there?
Mr. Boyd and Mr. Davidson. And they were still there. He had a bag. I don't know.
Who had a bag?
Mr. Davidson. I don't know what was in that bag, but it was a little bag. It wasn't a big bag to my recollection, but it was a little bag. And at that point, I don't care what you got. I don't care what you got going on. You just need to get about my house. That's all I want you to do. And so they said, thank you for letting us stay. Do you mind if we use your phone? I'm like, no, don't use my phone. No, that's okay. It's like, well, matter of fact, I asked them early before I left Atlanta. I know this probably, sorry if I messed y'all up, I'm so sorry. But earlier I asked if they could leave during the day. They said, could they stay until the evening? And I was like, okay, no problem. That's before I left for Atlanta while I was getting dressed. So we're gonna go back to that evening when I got back. Wednesday evening.
Yes.
It was nighttime, so I'll say it's about 8:45 because it gets dark early. So I'll say about 8:30, 9:45, around that time. And so, they left, but they both gave me a hug and they said thank you. And he said, Davidson said to me that you will be repaid. This is a hell of a repayment.
So you went to, so when they leave, did you know where they went?
Mm-mm.
Okay. And so I take it you go to bed that night?
Mm-hmm.
That's Wednesday night?
Yes, ma'am.
You wake up the next morning?
Yes, ma'am.
Tell us about the next morning or the next day.
The next morning, I was just doing cleaning house, and the next time I saw Mr. Boyd is when I was taking my trash out. I was coming up the steps through the catway. He said, hey, Danielle, I need to talk to you. I said, okay, come on down to my apartment, come holler at me. And that's when he said they got him. And I was like, oh, okay. And then we walk into the kitchen, and he pointed where. I'm still like, oh, okay. I still don't know what's going on. I still don't know what happened at all.
You recall where you pointed at when he said they got him?
The way my kitchen is like you can see the field where the pool is, and it's a straight field, straight on back. And he pointed to a white house.
And are you familiar with that house?
Mm-mm.
I mean, now are you familiar with it?
Oh yeah, now I am.
And is that the vacant house?
Mm-hmm.
And so, just so the jury knows, you're saying you pointed at a field. Is there a park in between your apartment and that house?
Yeah, it's a park.
The Markham
Mm-hmm.
Park?
Where old Bill Beardsley.
Alrighty. Showing you this map. You see that number up in the corner over there? What's that number for me?
This number? 426.
Looking at 426, do you see approximately where your apartment was?
This is the office here. Lord, I ain't lived over here and been over here so long, I have to recount some things. This was my building. That was the trash can. He was coming down right here.
Okay.
And so when I took the trash up right here, I was coming through the catwalk. That's when he said, hey, Danielle, I need to talk to you. I said, okay, come on, come and holler at me. And my apartment is right down here on this side. Down there.
And
he pointed straight back to the house.
okay, and do you see that house down there?
This one? Mm-hmm.
That's it. And you were talking about the field. Where's the field at?
This field right here, because it's right here, and then this field right through here.
And where's the pool?
Oh, Jesus. Right here.
Okay. And whenever you were saying you need to turn yourself in, who were you speaking to?
Mr. Davidson.
And who was there with Mr. Davidson
Mr. Boyd.
when you had this conversation?
Mm-hmm.
Shadix.
Cross-examination.
Oh, Jesus.
Hold on, Ms. Lightfoot.
Hello.
I'm not going to keep you too long, okay?
Okay.
Now, I know that you told us the next day, whenever you were taking the trash out, this is to be the day after Mr. Davidson and Mr. Boyd were over at your apartment.
Mm-hmm.
He came up to you, he said, they got him, right?
Mm-hmm.
Didn't he also tell you that he had lied to y'all? That Davidson had lied to y'all about his involvement?
I don't recall.
You don't recall if he said that or not?
No.
I know it's been a long time. It's okay. Now, you knew Slim for several months. I guess he was sort of an acquaintance, somebody who would sometimes come over to Rich Brook and hang out. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
And I think that, I know you testified many years ago in the federal proceedings, but I think that you had testified that you and Mr. Boyd were close friends,
Yes, sir.
and that as far as you knew, Mr. Boyd and Mr. Davidson were, they knew each other around Ridgebrook, but you didn't know that they were real close.
No, I didn't.
Certainly not close enough.
Oh, no.
Now, did you also know Daphne Sutton?
Yes.
And that would be Slim's girlfriend.
Yes.
And was there occasion that she took you to, I believe she gave you a ride to a hair salon?
Yes, sir.
And do you recall what kind of vehicle she was driving? Do you remember the color?
It was a white, small car. I want to say like a Sunfire.
Like a Sunbird?
Yeah, something like, but it was small. Looked like a small compact sedan.
But it was a small white car.
Mm-hmm.
Peter, you can step down, thank you.
Oh, thank you, Jesus.
Taylor? Are she free to go?
Any objections?
No objection.
She's free to go.
I'm gonna finish up the cell phone.
Who do you call?
Taylor Shaddix, Shadix. Okay, take it to stand there, ma'am.
Please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm the evidence you're about to give in the hearing of this cause will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, sir.
Please have a seat.
Please give us your name.
Taylor Shadix,
Can you spell your last name?
Shadix,
And your first name also.
Taylor. Taylor.
If I can direct your attention back to January 2007, were you familiar with a Daphne Sutton?
Yes, ma'am.
Were you familiar with LaMarcus Davidson?
Yes, ma'am.
And did you have a cell phone at the time?
Yes, ma'am.
And do you recall your cell phone number being 865-237-7625?
Yes, ma'am.
You have testified to this a number of times.
Yes, ma'am.
I mean, as you sit here today, you probably wouldn't otherwise remember that number.
Yes, ma'am.
So, do you recall back around the first weekend, first part of January 2007, Mr. Davidson trying to reach you to reach Daphne?
Yes, ma'am.
Tell us, I guess, about that.
She had moved out of the house and was living with her parents, and apparently avoiding him as well. And we were best friends growing up and best friends at the current time. And he knew that I could probably get a hold of her. So when she wasn't responding, he called my cell phone to see if I could find her for him.
Pass this.
Cross-examination.
Ms. Shaddix, you knew Slim and Daphne pretty well, correct?
I knew Daphne pretty well. Slim just on occasions going to see Daphne.
Okay. But you had also met his brother before, correct?
I met him one time. He came down before New Year's Eve, and I had met him time before that because I had a boyfriend and he was trying to get with me. So.
Gotcha. And likewise, you had known Mr. George Thomas G.
No, I've seen him one time taking Daphne. I think that was him, but I didn't know him personally, and I think I've seen him one time.
So you'd seen him, but you don't know Eric Boyd.
No.
No further questions.
Anything else? You can step down, thank you.
All right, thank you.
Is she free to go as well?
Any objection? She's free to go. Who is this?
Randall Wilson.
Randall.
Nelson.
Oh. Change of plans, change of plans. Just put. Yeah, we're going to put Randall Nelson. That's okay. Just 1 second. No, that's Miss Mynatt. Yeah, Miss Brewer has some babysitting problems, so we're waiting on her.
Is Mr. Nelson?
Yes.
Please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm the evidence you're about to give in the hearing of this cause will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
Please have a seat.
Give us your name, please, sir.
My name is Randall Kirk Nelson.
Spell your first name, please, and last name.
The first name is Randall. Last name Nelson, Nelson.
Who do you work for, Mr. Nelson?
I recently retired from the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation Crime Laboratory in Nashville.
How long did you work for the TBI Crime Lab?
Just over 30 years.
In what capacity? What were your duties?
I was assigned as a forensic scientist to the laboratory, and within the laboratory, I worked for 24 years in the trace evidence or microanalysis unit.
And tell us a little bit about your educational background and professional training in this field.
I graduated from David Lipscomb College in Nashville with a Bachelor of Arts degree in chemistry. When I began working at the laboratory for each discipline of testing that I worked in, I went through a period of training program within the laboratory that involved everything from readings to lectures to performing tests on fake evidence and real evidence and learning how to do all the processes that we use. And in each instance, it culminated in a competency test in which I had to take evidence and do analysis on that in that particular discipline, and then do a mock trial to show that I was capable of doing the work and testifying in court.
And you did that work for 20-something years, that I understand?
Right, I was in the trace evidence unit for 24 years.
And over that period of time, have you had occasion to examine many items for trace evidence?
Yes, I've done a whole variety of types of evidence in the trace evidence unit.
And have you testified in courts across the state of Tennessee?
Yes, sir, I have.
Relative to that experience or your
Yes, sir.
expertise in this? We moved to have Agent Nelson, retired Agent Nelson, I guess, qualified as an expert in microanalysis.
That's correct.
Is that the best way to say this?
Sure.
And back in 2007, is that who you worked for?
Yes, it is.
Performing examinations of items for trace evidence?
That's correct.
And tell us the types of things you look for when you receive an item into the lab. What is it you're called? Is it depend on what you're called upon to look for, or how do you go about doing it?
That's correct. Well, I was trained in several different areas that we do within trace evidence. So I did fire debris, glass analysis, paint analysis, and chemical analysis. So in chemical analysis, our job was to take in evidence and look for different chemicals maybe that might be on or be involved in a particular on a particular item of evidence or involved in a particular crime.
Now, as it relates to this case, is that what you were asked to do?
Yes, sir.
Look for chemicals on an exhibit sent to you?
Yes, sir, that's correct.
If I may approach that scissors. Hand you a package and see if you can recognize that.
Yes, sir. This package is evidence that I worked in this case, and I know that because this is where I wrote the case number that was assigned to this particular case, as well as the exhibit number that was assigned to this particular piece of evidence. The date that I worked it in my initials, and we still have evidence tape from the TBI crime lab with the date and my initials still where I sealed it up when I was done doing this analysis.
So that's some of your writing on the back of that envelope, is that right?
Yeah, yes, this is my writing here, and then my initials are right here, and the date right here.
And the lab number, of course, that's the number is your lab number, correct?
Yes, this is the number that's assigned by the TBI crime lab to cases as they come into the laboratory.
Now, the 15A exhibit number, is that assigned by the lab as well, or is that a
Yes.
number that you would select?
That was assigned by the lab as well to this particular exhibit, and it would follow it throughout the laboratory system.
And there's a date on there as well?
Yes, there's 1/29/07 was the date that I've usually either worked it or the date that I sealed it up.
Was this package received in your lab in that sealed condition?
Yes, well, all evidence that comes into our laboratory system is required to come in a sealed condition. It comes through an evidence receiving unit. They take the evidence in, they make sure that everything is sealed properly, and then they enter the information into our computer system, and then it's tracked throughout the lab from there.
So tell us then about receiving that package in a sealed condition. What did you do with it?
In this case, I opened the evidence, described what was inside the packaging. This particular item of evidence had been previously worked by another forensic scientist, and so they had their markings on the item and the packaging and everything. And then I described the piece of evidence, took a sample for the purpose of testing, did my analysis. When that was done, closed everything back up, sealed it back up in the packaging, and returned it.
I think what we want to do is open it up so you can show us what you examined. You want some gloves?
I would like that, yes.
Need large or extra large? We got large and extra large. Which ones do you need, you know?
I'll take the large ones.
Okay.
So inside the package, when I received it, was some white butcher paper from the previous examiner who had examined the evidence, and then inside the packaging was this particular top.
He step down and display that to the jury, please.
Yes.
Here, hold, spread it out like you've got it there. Just, if you don't care, just walk in front of the jury and let them take a look at it.
So this is the top. You can see that it has a lot of markings on it. All the markings that you see were made by the previous examiner who was doing her work on the item. I was asked to see if I could determine, and it's really hard, obviously it's hard to see now, but there are some staining that occurred at the top and then ran kind of down the side, and I was asked to determine if I could if there was a particular chemical that might have caused that light yellow stain at the top of the top. And so I took a sample from right here, and that's the sample that I used in my analysis.
And the sample you said was toward the top of it?
Yes, it's the sample right here on the left side of the top.
And that is a shirt with straps of some kind, is that correct?
That's correct.
So you took the one sample, the one clipping, I guess, to run your test, is that right?
That is correct.
Okay, if you could. We can return that to that. Now, you took a clipping from this shirt and were testing it for the presence of what?
I was requested to determine if there was any bleach on the top.
Yes. From the area that you...
From the area that I took a sample from.
You took a sample from it. Did you notice anything in different areas that you didn't take a cutting from or a sample from?
Well, like you saw, there appeared to be a stain that kind of ran across the top and then down the side, and so that I took a sample from what seemed to be the most, I guess, concentrated or most obvious area, but that was kind of a continuous stain that ran up the side and then across the top.
It appeared to be consistent with what you took.
That's correct.
There, you took the sample from.
Yes.
Okay. And what were the results of your testing?
So, examination of Exhibit 15A, which was I call it a white tank top, revealed the presence of a slightly discolored stain around the neckline and down the left side. Analysis of this stain indicated the presence of bleach, which is a strong base.
And I have a copy of your report, or is that an extra copy?
I do not have an extra copy, sorry.
I'm going to approach what we marked as Exhibit 453. Tell us whether or not that's a true and exact copy of your report.
Yes, it is.
Report issued January 31st, 2007.
Yes, that's correct.
After having received this in the lab on January 29th, 2007, is that correct?
Well, no, we received it into the lab on January 12th.
I apologize.
That would have been the
That's
date I worked
the
it.
date that you worked it. I apologize. We'd move Exhibit 453 into evidence.
Okay.
And 374 if it's not been moved in.
Okay. Very well, let them be received into evidence. Cross-examination.
And just for the record, Your Honor, we do stipulate Mr. Nelson is qualified as an expert.
All right, the court will find that Mr. Nelson is an expert in my own analysis.
Mr. Nelson, you have testified for that there was the presence of bleach. Is that correct on the camisole?
That my testing indicated that there was the presence of bleach, yes.
Okay.
It wasn't a conclusive test.
And the testing that you do is looking for the presence of chlorine, correct?
In this case, that's one of the parts of the test that I did, yes, was the test to see if there was anything with chlorine on the garment.
And so that was one of the things that you looked for in coming to the conclusion that this was bleach on the tank top, correct?
That was, again, that was one part of the testing, yes.
Yes, sir. All right, thank you.
You can step down, thank you, sir. You can excuse me, any objection? No objection. He's free to go.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, there's a matter one of the attorneys has to take care of at this point. We'll take about a 15-minute recess. Please go to the court office. do about a 15-minute recess.
Yes, sir.
Hopefully,